Some days I wake up and there's just heavy sadness in my chest. It doesn't tell me why it's there, what it wants, or why it lingers. And I used to try to make sense of everything. I always want everything to be symbolic. Like there's a reason for why this is happening. There's a reason as to why they left. And there's a reason as to why they acted the way they acted and why I feel the way I feel. And honestly, it becomes so difficult to accept that sometimes things just happen because they have to happen. And people are just mean and bad to you because that's just who they are. There's nothing about, or their past traumas and whatever. Sometimes people are just being mean because they are mean, and sometimes you are just feeling the way you're feeling because that's just how you are. Sometimes there is no why. Things just happen because they have to happen. I always wanted things, and I always still do want things to connect, to make sense. I am always trying to find meaning to things, to somehow make myself feel better and give myself a justification as to why that certain thing happened the way it happened. And like meaning was the only way pain could feel less heavy. And if I added meaning to why people acted the way they acted and why I feel the way I feel, it's going to sort of like make me feel a little bit better because it's going to give me some sort of clarity. So I thought. But now, I don't know. Maybe I am just tired, or maybe I'm just learning that not everything has to be a metaphor, not everything has to have a hidden meaning behind it, not everything has to have some sort of justification as to why it happened because I want it to please me, or to cool down my mentality, or to cool down my temper or my feeling. And honestly, people leave, things change, dreams change, you outgrow a version of yourself that you once thought was impossible to escape. And sometimes, majority of the times, there's a lesson in that. And honestly, that's just life. And I used to think that healing would come with clarity and it would come with a lot of justification as to why I chose them, why I feel the way I feel, why I acted the way I acted, and why I said what I said, and why life is the way it is. Why I no longer feel safe in places that used to feel like home and in people that I used to confide in and feel so comfortable with. Sometimes healing looks like lying on your bedroom floor in total silence and looking at the ceiling. And sometimes it's not beautiful, it's not powerful, it's just lonely. And until we all learn to accept that and we all learn to face that, including me, because I still feel that way and I am still struggling to understand and to get that being healed or going through a healing process requires a lot. And sometimes it requires a lot of solace, a lot of solitude, and a lot of alone time. And doing small things that just make your day feel different from yesterday. And changing a single mindset or a single hobby. I think we have to accept that not every ending has to be a beginning. We do not necessarily always have to try to put meaning to everything and just romanticize the whole quote unquote era. This is my this era, this is my that era. And the hard truth, personally, for me, that people don't want to hear is we're always trying to be optimistic and we're always trying to sugarcoat things. And that's great. I don't need every ache to be a lesson. Sometimes I'll break and nothing grows from it. And that's because sometimes I just hurt. And I'm very much realizing that not every single moment is here to teach me something. Some are just here to pass through you like wind. And honestly, the truth is, maybe that's where the peace actually starts. Not the figuring out, not the trying to add meaning, but just the letting it be. And that in itself can be the most difficult part because accepting that what has happened just happened because it needed to happen. And just letting people be and act the way they want to act is so difficult. Some days I still want answers, some days it still ache, but I've stopped turning healing into a performance, into some sort of artistic kind of experience. Oh, this is my this era, and like I have to necessarily put meaning into what happened and into how I necessarily feel. And I honestly do think that you can be confused and still be gentle, you can be lost and still be worthy, and you can be searching and still find and still be in love and still be loved. And there's just a kind of beauty in not knowing, in just watching and just sitting and like letting your life unfold into this beautiful masterpiece. or to try forcing it into a meaning it's not ready to hold, it's not ready to be. Because honestly, the more I try to add meaning into something or to make things meaningful, the more I just lost the entire idea of being alive and the entire essence of being alive and of living. And I go through my day with a certain silent kind of courage of brushing my hair when I don't feel like brushing my hair, putting on clothes that I don't like, answering texts that I would rather disappear. And I think we all just need to stop romanticizing pain and thinking that every sad ending or every sad story comes with a fresh new beginning. Sometimes it just does not. And you don't have to know exactly who you are right now. You don't have to explain every single feeling. You don't have to make every single little moment something deeper. You don't have to document your growth if you don't want to. You don't have to give any justification as to why you're feeling the way you're feeling and as to why you're healing the way you're healing to anybody. You don't have to justify anybody's time. And I think growing up is less about becoming someone new and more about returning to yourself. And there's beauty in just showing up tired, confused. You're allowed to be shocked, you're allowed to feel sad, you're allowed to feel soft, and you're allowed to feel however you want to feel because no one exactly is ever going to understand exactly how you feel. And sometimes people can relate, sometimes they can't, and that's okay. And most of the times, we all don't want meaning. We need it because without it, what's the point of hurting? What's the point of all the overthinking? That's what's like going through our heads subconsciously. It's like you just feel like you're dumb, you're stupid if there's no meaning as to why you feel the way you feel, as to why you just randomly feel sad or alone, even when you know very well that you have people around you that care and love you. And growing up as a girl, you learn how to hide pain before you even need the word to describe it for you. You learn to cry quietly, to be apologetic for taking up space, to be likable, and to feel sorry for feeling bad or for having actual emotions, over expressing emotions because you're going to be seen as weak. You're going to be seen as, oh, you're an attention seeker just because you want to express how you feel in the way that best suits you. And this is sort of like to me like a diary that I'm like sort of like keeping. I hope one day I can look back at this and feel proud of myself and like taking you guys along that same journey. And honestly, sometimes you are too much, sometimes you care too much, you feel too much, and that's okay. Maybe that's not a problem. Maybe that is just you being the most human version of yourself that you can be. And society has made us feel like we have to tie our emotions in to be more available when people need us. And sometimes you need a break for yourself. Okay, you don't always need to show up when people need you and drain yourself so much that you're losing yourself in the process of trying to make people feel your presence and to appreciate you. And no, not everything means something, but that doesn't make it meaningless. And like adding meaning can be so draining because you get to a point where you start questioning yourself and you start questioning your worth. And especially when people make you feel like you're not doing enough, or when people leave, you just feel so helpless. It's like, why did they leave? Why exactly do I feel the way I feel? And why exactly would they see a reason to leave me after everything I've done? And sometimes that is just exactly how it was meant to be. And I look in the mirror now and I don't recognize who I was last year because there's more softness in my eyes and there's a lot of sadness too. And like it's so difficult to wrap your brain around why things happen the way they happen and why you've changed. You cannot exactly pinpoint exactly what has happened, but like you have become so emotionally drained. And some nights I still cry about things that happened years ago. Not because I miss them, but because I never really let myself feel them. I never really let myself to go through that emotional phase of acceptance and of grief. And I was too busy trying to turn it into a concert, into something beautiful to add meaning to what never really needed meaning. And that's the most beautiful thing about all of this. It's like you don't really need it to mean something, but it still will change you, whether you like it or not. So it's something that you have to gradually accept and like move on from it, as difficult as it might be, and feel every emotion to the last brim and to the last drop.